There's a quiet kind of power some men carry, and it has nothing to do with how young they look or how much money they make. It's the way they move, the way they speak, the way they simply exist in a room. You can feel it before they even open their mouths, that calm confidence, that grounded presence. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's magnetic. You've probably noticed it before. One man walks into a room and instantly draws attention without trying. He doesn't need to be the loudest voice or the best-dressed guy there. His body language says everything. Steady eye contact, relaxed shoulders, a quiet smile that says, "I'm good with who I am." People, including women, naturally lean in because that kind of calm energy feels safe and strong. Then there's the other kind, the man who tries too hard to be noticed. He laughs a little too loudly, talks a little too much, and tries to sound younger than he is. Maybe he throws around slang that doesn't fit him or dresses like he's chasing trends instead of comfort and class. Deep down, he's not confident. He's searching for validation. And the sad thing is, everyone can sense it, even if they don't say it out loud. That's the part most men never realize. Attraction isn't built on how hard you try. It's built on what you radiate. And what you radiate comes from what's inside, your energy. It's not your jawline. It's not your car. It's not your wallet. It's the way you carry yourself when no one's watching. The calm, grounded energy that says, "I know who I am, and I don't need to prove it." Women, especially younger women, can feel the difference immediately. They can tell when a man is pretending to be younger, pretending to be more confident, pretending to have it all together. They sense when something feels forced, and when they do, they pull back, because no woman feels safe around a mask. If you've ever had a younger woman seem interested at first but slowly lose interest, her replies got shorter, her laughter faded, she started pulling away, chances are it wasn't your appearance or your age. It was something deeper, something in the energy you gave off that made her feel like she couldn't fully trust it. Maybe you were overcompensating. Maybe you were trying too hard to prove that you still got it. Or maybe you just didn't realize that what makes a man truly attractive has nothing to do with age and everything to do with self-awareness. Because when a man is at peace with who he is, that peace becomes power. And when a man is still chasing the approval of others, that chase becomes noise. This isn't about trying to impress anyone. It's about reconnecting with your own presence, that stillness that doesn't need applause. So before we get into the habits that quietly kill attraction, remember this. You don't lose women because you're older. You lose them because you start acting like you need to prove you're not. And that's what we're about to change, starting right now. Habit 1. Trying to act young instead of being grounded. You don't have to pretend to be 25 to attract someone who is. What really draws people in isn't youth. It's life. It's energy that feels alive, not desperate. But too many men mix those things up. They mistake being youthful for acting young. So they chase after every new slang word, wear clothes meant for kids half their age, or jump into trends they don't even understand, all to prove they still got it. They think that's how to connect. But instead of looking confident, they look uncomfortable. It's like watching someone wear a suit that doesn't fit. The truth is, when you chase youth, you're not chasing attraction. You're running from yourself. You're telling the world you're afraid of aging, afraid of losing relevance, afraid that who you are right now isn't enough. But that fear shows, and nothing kills attraction faster than insecurity hiding under a mask. Trying to blend in with younger people doesn't make you relatable, it makes you disappear. Because blending in means losing the very thing that makes you stand out. Your presence, your experience, your calm. Those are your advantages. Those are the things younger men don't have. There's nothing more magnetic than a man who's comfortable in his own skin. The lines on your face, the calm in your voice, the patience in how you move. That's what makes you attractive. It tells her you've lived, you've learned, and you're not in a rush to prove anything. That energy is rare. That's what makes women feel drawn to you. When you stop pretending and start owning who you are, something shifts. You no longer compete with younger men because you're not even playing the same game. You have depth. You have presence. You have the kind of confidence that doesn't need attention to feel real. Younger women don't want a man who's trying to relive his 20s. They want a man who's grown through his 20s and came out the other side stronger, wiser, and more grounded. So stop trying to be cool, be collected, be centered, be alive. Because the man who's at peace with his age doesn't chase admiration, he naturally commands it. Habit 2, making money, your personality. Money can open doors, but it can't make someone stay. It might turn heads for a moment, but character is what makes people want to keep looking. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being successful. In fact, it's something to be proud of. You worked hard for what you have. You built it through years of effort, sacrifice, and persistence. But the moment you start using your success to prove your worth, you lose the quiet power that success was meant to give you. When a man leads with his wallet, bragging about what he owns, showing off cars, mentioning expensive restaurants or investments on the first date, he might think he's showing strength. But what he's really showing is fear. Fear that who he is might not be enough. Fear that he has to decorate his personality with price tags just to be noticed. And here's the truth most men don't realize. Real confidence doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. It's felt in silence, in your composure, your presence, your tone, and the way you carry yourself when no one's watching. It's not in the watch on your wrist, but in the peace in your eyes. It's not in your bank balance, but in the balance inside you. When you try to buy admiration, what you actually purchase is distance. Because the more you flash your wealth, the more you remind her that you think that's all you have to offer. And deep down, every woman can feel it. She can sense the difference between a man who's proud of his success and a man who hides behind it. The man who truly has it doesn't need to prove it. His success shows up in the way he treats people, the way he handles challenges, and the way he stays calm under pressure. He doesn't need to show off what he's built, because what he's built speaks for itself. There's a quiet strength in the man who sits comfortably in his achievements without flaunting them. When you walk into a room with that kind of calm, people feel it. You don't have to announce that you've made it. Your energy says it for you. It's never about what's in your bank account. It's about what's in your presence. A man who's at peace with himself already feels wealthy. He doesn't buy attention. He naturally commands it. Because when you know your worth, you stop trying to sell it, and that's when people, especially women, start to feel it. Habit 3. Talking like you're tired of women. Nothing shuts down attraction faster than bitterness dressed up as honesty. A lot of men don't even realize they're doing it. They think they're just telling it like it is, but what comes out sounds like exhaustion. It sounds like someone who's not just tired of women, but tired of trying to understand them. You've probably heard it before, maybe even said it yourself. Women today are all the same. They only care about looks or money. Back in my day, women were better. But those words don't make you sound wise. They make you sound wounded. Because beneath them is disappointment that was never dealt with. A breakup that hurt more than you'd admit. A betrayal that still stings. A few bad experiences that hardened your heart. That's what bitterness really is. Pain that learned how to talk. And here's the thing. Women can feel that energy instantly. It's not masculine. It's not mysterious. It's heavy. It feels like talking to someone who's given up on believing the best in people. No woman wants to carry the weight of another man's resentment. When a man spends his time complaining about women, he's not revealing a problem with women. He's revealing a problem with himself. His attitude, his outlook, his refusal to grow past what hurt him. Because a strong man doesn't sit in blame. He takes responsibility for what he can control, his own energy, his own choices, his own peace. The truth is, the world has changed. Dating is different. People are different. But complaining won't make it any easier. A real man doesn't whine about how things used to be. He observes how things are now, and he adapts. He stays sharp, grounded and calm, while others spiral in frustration. A wise man doesn't curse the storm. He learns how to sail through it. If you want to stand out, don't talk like a man who's tired of women. Talk like a man who understands women, their nature, their needs, their complexity, not because you're trying to manipulate them, but because you've taken the time to actually listen. That's what separates the bitter from the magnetic. The man who blames women pushes them away. The man who respects them, even when he doesn't always agree, earns something money can't buy, their admiration. At the end of the day, women don't pull away from men because they're older. They pull away because they can feel when a man has stopped seeing them with curiosity and grace. So don't let your past harden you. Let it sharpen you, because the man who stays open, kind and grounded, even after being hurt, is the one women never forget. Habit 4. Acting possessive instead of protective. There's a very fine line between caring for someone and trying to control them, and a lot of men cross that line without even realizing it. It usually starts small, with the kind of gestures that sound sweet at first. You say, "Text me when you get home." It feels thoughtful, protective, genuine. But over time, that same phrase turns into, "Why didn't you text me yet?" And suddenly, what began as care starts to feel like control. What once smelled like love now starts to smell like fear. You tell yourself you're just being protective. You say it's because you care. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll find what's really underneath. Fear. Fear of losing her. Fear of being replaced. Fear that if you don't keep an eye on her, she might slip away. And that fear doesn't make you strong. It makes you tense. It turns love into surveillance. Here's the truth that many men never learn. The tighter you try to hold her, the faster she'll pull away. Because women don't run from love. They run from pressure. They don't want to feel like they're being managed, tracked or controlled. They want to feel safe. Not the kind of safety that traps them, but the kind that lets them breathe. The kind that makes their world feel lighter when you're in it, not smaller. Younger women especially can sense when your protectiveness comes from peace or when it comes from panic. The difference is in your energy. When your actions come from insecurity, she feels it, even when your words sound sweet. But when your actions come from confidence, she relaxes. She opens up. She trusts you. She doesn't need a man who guards her like property. She needs a man who protects her peace, a man who makes her feel seen, not watched, who creates space, not cages. And here's the beautiful irony. The man who tries to control her always loses her. But the man who trusts her keeps her, because trust is magnetic. It tells her, "I don't need to know where you are every second because I know who I am." That's confidence. That's security. That's real masculine energy. True strength isn't in restriction. It's in allowing. Real masculinity doesn't demand freedom. It grants it. And when a woman feels free around you, that's when she feels the safest. That's when she chooses to stay, not because she has to, but because she wants to. So stop guarding her like she's something that can be lost. Start leading with love that doesn't need to control. Because that's the difference between a boy who's afraid of losing love and a man who embodies it. Habit 5. Talking down to her. The moment you start explaining life like she's your student, something changes. You stop being attractive and you start being exhausting. It doesn't usually happen out of arrogance. Most men don't mean to sound condescending. You probably think you're being helpful, that you're sharing wisdom, maybe even guiding her. But what she feels isn't guidance. It's distance. She feels like you're talking at her, not with her. And no woman wants to feel like a child in her own relationship. When she opens up, when she tells you about her ideas, her opinions, or something she's passionate about, she isn't always asking for a lesson. Sometimes she just wants to be understood. She wants to feel heard, not corrected. She's sharing her world with you, not handing you an invitation to fix it. But this is where many older men go wrong. They believe that because they've lived longer, they've earned the right to teach. And yes, life has taught you things. You've gained experience, perspective, understanding. But wisdom loses its weight the moment you use it to elevate yourself instead of to connect. There's a fine line between sharing what you know and showing off what you know. When you cross that line, it doesn't make you sound smart. It makes you sound tired. Because wisdom that's constantly forced on others isn't wisdom at all. It's insecurity wearing a suit and calling itself knowledge. You can share what you've learned, but share it gently. Speak from curiosity, not superiority. Do it like a man who respects her mind, not like a man who thinks he needs to shape it. When you listen first, when you pause before jumping in, you show real confidence. Because listening means you're not threatened by her thoughts. It means you're strong enough to value understanding more than control. But when you constantly talk down, when every discussion turns into a lecture, you don't come across as wise or experienced. You come across as insecure and disconnected. You make her feel smaller so you can feel bigger. And that never inspires admiration, only exhaustion. A real man doesn't need to dominate every conversation. He doesn't need to have the final word. He knows how to elevate the conversation instead, to make it richer, deeper, more meaningful. So the next time she speaks, pause, really listen, ask questions, try to see the world through her eyes for a moment, meet her mind where it is, not where you think it should be. Because when you do that, something powerful happens. She feels seen, not spoken over. She feels respected. And respect, more than charm or money or looks, is the most attractive language there is. Habit 6. Looking like you gave up on yourself. Let's be honest, attraction always begins with what she sees. It's not about vanity, it's about presentation. You don't have to look like a model or have a perfect physique. But you do have to look like a man who still cares about himself, his health, his image, his life. Because when it looks like you've stopped caring, she doesn't just assume you're lazy, she assumes you've stopped living. She feels that somewhere along the way, you gave up on yourself. And when you give up on yourself, the energy around you changes. You stop radiating confidence and start radiating fatigue. It happens quietly. One day, you stop ironing your shirts. The next, you tell yourself there's no point dressing up anymore. You repeat lines like, if she really likes me, she'll like me for who I am. But that's not humility. That's an excuse. It's a quiet form of complacency hiding behind comfort. Attraction has never been about perfection. It's about effort. It's about how you show up in the world. When you put in effort, it says something powerful. I value myself enough to look like it. Effort isn't about impressing others. It's about maintaining your own standard. Think about it. If you walk out of the house wearing wrinkled clothes, hair unkempt, shoes falling apart, you're not sending a message of simplicity. You're sending a message of surrender. You're showing that you've stopped investing in yourself, and women notice that instantly. Because women aren't drawn to perfection. They're drawn to vitality, to a man who still has life in him. The man who smells clean, moves with confidence, stands tall. He doesn't need to say a word. His presence already speaks. So yes, iron that shirt. Get a haircut that actually fits your face and your style today, not what looked good in your 20s. Wear clothes that fit the man you've become, not the man you were. You don't have to follow every trend. Just find what makes you look put together, grounded, and self-respecting. Self-respect shows up before you ever open your mouth. It's in the way you walk into a room. It's in your posture, your handshake, your energy. The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how others treat you, including her. If you look like you've given up, she'll believe you have. But if you carry yourself like a man who still takes pride in who he is, she'll feel that energy and match it. Because confidence, real, grounded confidence, starts with the relationship you have with yourself. Style isn't vanity, it's energy. It's a message to the world that says, I'm still here, I still care, and I'm not done yet. Habit 7. Acting like you know everything. Confidence is quiet. Arrogance never stops talking. And somewhere between the two, a lot of men get lost without realizing it. You've lived longer. You've seen more. You've earned your lessons through trial, time, and pain. That's something to be proud of. But sometimes that hard-earned wisdom starts to build a wall instead of a bridge. Without noticing, you go from sharing your experiences to hiding behind them. You think you're being helpful. You think you're guiding. But when she talks about something that excites her, a new book, a business idea, a song that means something to her, you feel the urge to jump in, to correct her, to show that you've already been there, already done that, already know better. You don't mean to put her down, you just want to feel seen, to feel relevant. But here's the irony. The more you try to prove what you know, the less she wants to know you. Because when every conversation turns into a lesson, it stops feeling like a connection and starts feeling like a classroom. Younger women aren't looking for professors, they're looking for partners. Someone who's curious about their world, who listens with interest instead of trying to dominate the space. She doesn't need another critic. She needs someone who makes her ideas feel safe to share. The man who listens learns. He learns what makes her laugh, what lights her up, what she truly cares about. Through listening, he builds trust. Through curiosity, he builds connection. Because curiosity says, I see you, you matter. And that's what opens a woman's heart. Not speeches, not advice, not endless talking. But the man who constantly lectures, he might win the debate, but he loses her admiration. He might be right in words, but wrong in energy. Because no one, man or woman, wants to feel small in the presence of someone they care about. Real confidence doesn't need to dominate. It doesn't say, let me teach you how it really is. It says, tell me how you see it. I want to understand. That's strength. That's maturity. When you listen with genuine interest, you make her feel valued, respected, and equal. You create space where both of you can grow instead of compete. And that kind of energy, calm, open, humble, never gets old. So remember this, smart men talk, wise men listen, and the man who listens, truly listens, never stops learning, never stops growing, and never stops being attractive. You don't have to chase youth, you just have to master presence. That's what separates the man who's always trying to prove his value from the one who simply embodies it. You don't need to compete with younger men. You don't need to outdress them, outtalk them, or outpost them on social media. You're not in the same lane. Let them run fast. You move with purpose. Because they may have energy, but you have essence. They may be quick, but you have stillness. And stillness, the kind that comes from knowing who you are, is real power. Be the man who takes care of himself, not to look impressive, but because self-respect demands it. Be the man who treats women with kindness and understanding, but never loses his boundaries. Be the man whose energy brings calm when he enters a room, the kind of presence that makes people feel safe, not overwhelmed. That's what real masculinity looks like. Not noise, not showing off, but quiet authority, the kind that doesn't fade when the lights go out, because that's what women remember long after the conversation ends, how you made them feel. When you reach that place, everything shifts. You stop chasing attention. You stop trying to prove your worth. You stop performing for approval. You simply are. And that's when people, including women, naturally gravitate toward you. Because peace is rare, and peace is magnetic. Age doesn't make you less attractive. If anything, it gives you more tools, more depth, more patience, more understanding. You've lived, you've learned, you've fallen and gotten back up. That's strength. That's experience. That's something no 25-year-old can fake. The only time you truly lose your power is when you stop growing. When you trade curiosity for cynicism or confidence for control. Attraction dies not with age, but with stagnation. So stop trying to be younger, be real, be complete, be anchored, be the man who knows himself and doesn't need anyone's permission to exist boldly, because that's what women of every age are drawn to. Not youth, not perfection, but presence. A man who's grounded, calm, and alive in his truth. And when you become that man, you'll notice something powerful. You won't have to chase anyone. You'll attract everything meant for you. The right woman won't run from your age. She'll lean into your depth. So tell me, which of these 7 habits do you see the most out there? Be honest. You've probably spotted at least one of them in your friends, maybe even in yourself. Drop the number in the comments. Let's see how many men need to hear this right now. And if you know someone who's stuck repeating one of these habits, share this with them. You might just help them wake up to the truth before it's too late.